This video is a short overview of the Styleframe submission for Type for Screen. So here we're looking at an animatic submission from a student. So we've got a roughly 60-second sequence where the storyboard frames have been spaced out in time with the music and a voiceover. And the animatic does a great job of giving us an indication of how these elements are going to be animating over time. We understand the narrative. That's what the animatic is perfect for. It definitely doesn't give us any indication of the visual style, the color scheme, and your visual approach to this project, and that's perfect. The animatic shouldn't give that, but the style frame should. So here is an example of a student's style frame. The idea of the Type for Screen style frame submission is that you choose one key moment from your animatic, from your narrative, and we recommend that you choose a scene that maybe has got a bit of type as well. So maybe choose a scene that's got a title and some graphic elements and a background, and then you can show us how are you going to treat all of these different elements. In this case, the student's chosen a scene where her typographer is mentoring all these other baby typographers. And this is the style frame that the student has submitted. The idea of the style frame is that you have to pretend you've kind of hit pause on your video, and the video obviously hasn't been made yet, might not be due for another month, but you're presenting us what you imagine the final video is going to look like if you hit pause. So the student says, here is what my video is going to look like. This is what the visual style is actually going to be like for the video here. You can see this is a rough animatic. You understand now all the timing from the animatic submission and all the visual approach from the style frame submission. So there's a little bit more to the submission than just a single style frame. You have to supply in the PDF your visual reference that you used as inspiration. So hopefully the exercise of creating a Pinterest board has been helpful in collecting all of that reference and finding more. So you can put all of that reference into a single frame, and on top of that we want to see some annotations. So what was it about this particular reference that influenced you in your actual style frame? And we can see with this student example the link is really clear between the final frame and the inspiration. And that's not all. There's another component to the style frame submission. We want you to get that scene that you've decided. You've chosen this scene from your animatic, you've given us a style frame, and we want you to now present two further examples. So we've got a second style approach here, which is completely different to the first one. There's almost no similarity at all, and you can see the first one, the student wants a style where there is no real background. It's very, very, very clean. But in this one we've got a real great indication of a background, and color scheme's totally different. So the second style also has to include the reference images. You can see here there's a few reference images that really do relate back to it, and a third style. Here it's still strikingly different to the first example in terms of its visual approach. And we've got the third reference as well. So in summary, that's the scope of work of the style frame submission. The idea that you've hit pause on your video and you're showing us the final frame. You can make this using any tools you like if you're into Photoshop, Illustrator, Affinity. And since the idea is that you've hit pause, you could do things like add some fake motion blur by blurring areas of the image just to indicate, this, I want to have that kind of feeling of movement. But you want to basically give us the best possible idea of how you aim for your video to work. As a result, we'll be able to give you some detailed feedback not only on the actual animation and the narrative, but also the visual approach.